Al, January is over, but apparently it decided to end with a bang.
Yeah, no kidding.
So we got to talk about more game acquisitions.
Mm.
And also some other stuff that's less.
Eh.
Because that
Yeah.
would be a very dreadful episode if it was just all.
Ugh.
Hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Seasonal Anime Checkup. OVA is episode 267. I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Howe and Ladium.
Hello.
It's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, and manga. We're going to talk about some vid games.
Yeah.
But first, we got to talk about the news.
Breaking news. So
Glad
really
Al
breaking.
remembered the news song. Very important.
Yep. Do my best.
It's true. Yes. What was 2 weeks ago? Microsoft and Activision was a thing.
We talked about it a little bit ago, but I don't even remember. Time is fake. So
Time is fake. You were right. But this week, Sony is in the news now,
yep.
as they have acquired Bungie
Mm-hmm.
for a total, or I guess are planning to acquire Bungie. We also should always mention that these are not official yet.
Correct.
But they are planning to acquire Bungie for a grand total of $3.6 billion. It's a lot of money.
I still can't even imagine that amount of money. Like,
No,
that's just incomprehensible to me.
it is very incomprehensible. So yeah, Bungie will be now under Sony. Sony, of course, as of now, are saying, hey, they're still able to self-publish. They could be multi-platform. But of course, that is lip service for now, and eventually that's probably going to change.
Yeah.
They'll still be working on Destiny 2, which I believe has an expansion coming out this month. They're working on a new game of some sort, and I believe also they said them going to Sony was beneficial because they want to branch out into other medium, including movies and stuff like that.
Oh God.
But yeah, a lot of people also were like, "Oh, this is a response to Microsoft buying Activision." It's like, no, that's not how this works.
No.
These have been in the works for months. This is more in line probably with
Bethesda.
a response to Bethesda getting bought out.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking anyways. It's a response to Bethesda more so than Activision Blizzard. Because these take a long time to figure out.
They do take a long time to figure out.
And obviously, again, they're not complete. So it's still going to take a bit more time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's not like Microsoft said Activision Blizzard and Sony's like, what are we going to do?
Pick up the phone. We're throwing Buddy at Bungie.
Yeah, that's not how it worked.
No. I believe Sony has also mentioned that they have more acquisitions in the pipeline, which is not a good sign whatsoever.
Nope. Not happy about that.
It's not good. It's not good around these parts.
I don't like this.
No.
It's very, very bad when this is happening a lot. This is not a good thing for the industry.
No. But of course, there will be people out there who think video game corporations are sports teams and have to root for them in that way and be like, yeah, we got him. We saved you, Bungie.
My God, it is so frustrating to see all of that weird nonsense on twitter.com. Because you'll see just stupid people in comments, just completely unrelated to things that they're talking about. They're like, Sony needs to get Capcom, Sony needs to get Konami, Sony needs to get Square Enix in response to what Microsoft's doing. It's like, how about none of this happens and y'all just shut up? How about that? And
It's
Microsoft's got
dumb.
to stop that junk too.
It's
All
all
y'all
dumb.
quit it. Like,
Stab it.
stop it. Like I just hate it. It's so frustrating. Like I don't like this direction that's happening right now.
No.
It's icky.
It's very not good and very foreboding.
Yes. I must agree with you, my
Very
friend.
spooky. Um, Bungie had been independent for a good little bit after they got out of their like 10-year exclusivity deal with Activision. So they had not gotten out of that. They would have just been locked up back with Microsoft again, which would have been
Right.
interesting.
Yeah, that would have been
Hey, you guys
interesting.
want to come back and work on Halo? No.
No. Um,
Well, I'm glad that Sony finally got their Halo killer. Coming soon, Bungie's Killzone.
woo.
The only way to cope with this is just to make bad jokes about it.
Yeah. I mean, basically, and it's so depressing. But what can you do?
Suffer.
Well, I'm already doing that, but yeah, continue to suffer more, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember like Bungie like made a stink about like being under different companies, and it's like, what are you doing?
I mean, $3.6 billion is a lot of money.
That's, you're not wrong.
And that's chump change compared to the other two big acquisitions that happened in January.
Correct.
So,
Wait, what's the other one?
Take-Two getting Zynga for twelve
Oh,
point seven billion.
right. I forgot about that.
Chump change. It's bad when you have to say $3.6 billion is chump change.
That's so upsetting.
But yeah. This one obviously I don't think is like as groundbreaking or as, big as the Activision Blizzard acquisition from Microsoft is,
Right.
but it's still a pretty big deal. A
Yeah.
lot of money being moved potentially. And yeah. Not a good sign for the industry.
Thanks,
as a
I
whole.
hate it.
Thanks, I hate it. Yes. Well, I mean, there's not a whole lot we can really talk about with this because it's like Bungie's been making Destiny, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, we mainly said a lot of what we felt about this last time we talked about it with Microsoft.
Yeah.
So, like, not to beat a dead horse, but this sucks.
Yeah. Essentially, that's it. But let's move on to some games that I played recently. We're going to talk about, first up, a game you've played in the past.
Several times.
A game I played in the past, kind of. Well, I owned it, but then I just never beat it, which isn't surprising. The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. The Game Boy version, not the GBC version, not the Switch version. The original Game Boy version, which I played on the Zelda Game & Watch.
Which we both have.
Yeah, which is an interesting little platform. I think it's a good screen on that. Like, those games look really nice on it. It's just maybe not the best handheld to play games like long term on. For someone with bigger hands like I do, it's just like it gets painful after a while. You're just like, ow, my hands hurt.
Yeah, I don't have that problem.
Yeah, because you got small baby hands.
I have small baby hands. It's like the one time that small baby hands are beneficial. So like I haven't really had a problem, but it is very bizarre that they didn't do the GBC version of it though.
I also thought that, but then like I saw screenshots of the Game Boy Color version. I was like, this kind of looks like. So maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. I feel like some of those colors are just not good.
Oh no.
That could just be me. Either way, I mean, you're not really missing out a whole lot with the Game Boy Color version, where you get like a bonus dungeon and like a few extra items here and there.
Right.
So it is what it is. But before we dive into what I thought about this game and also like your thoughts about it because you've played it before,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
talk about development of this game.
Okay.
Because that might be interesting. It's probably the only time we're actually going to talk about this game. So,
Yeah, probably.
Link's Awakening began as an unsanctioned side project. Programmer Kazuaki Morita created a Zelda-like game with one of the first Game Boy development kits, and he used it to experiment with the platform's capabilities. Other staff members of the Nintendo Entertainment Analysis and Development Division joined him after hours and worked on the game in what seemed to them like an after-school club. The results of these experiments with the Game Boy started to look promising. Following the 1991 release of the Super Nintendo video game The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, director Takashi Tezuka asked for permission to develop a handheld Zelda game. He intended it to be a port of A Link to the Past, but it evolved into an original game. The majority of the team that had created A Link to the Past was reassembled to advance this new project. Altogether, it took them 1.5 years to develop Link's Awakening. I had not heard that this game started as just like a bootleg.
Yeah, I didn't either. That's interesting.
And then there's like, all right, I guess we'll just make this thing. I don't know.
Sure. All right. I mean, you already put this much work into it.
Yeah.
Let's just make it official.
Tezuka recalled that the early freeform development of Link's Awakening resulted in the game's unrestrained content, such as the unauthorized cameo appearances of characters from the Mario and Kirby series. I like that they call them unauthorized. Like they just snuck them in there and like, I don't know, maybe someone will find out after the game's released, but at that point, who cares? It's too late.
But also it's the same company.
Right.
So it's not like it's like some other company stealing like Mario characters and stuff. It's Nintendo property.
Right.
Oh my god.
A Link to the Past scriptwriter Kensuke Tanabe joined the team early on and came up with the basis of the story. Tezuka sought to make Link's Awakening a spin-off, and he gave Tanabe instructions to omit common series elements such as Princess Zelda, the Triforce Relic, and the setting Hyrule. As a consequence, Tanabe proposed his game world idea of an island with an egg on top of a mountain. Eggs are big.
Mm-hmm.
Real in 1991.
Mm-hmm.
Tezuka recalled that it felt as though they were making a parody of The Legend of Zelda rather than an actual Zelda game.
Huh.
Later on, Yoshiaki Koizumi, who had previously helped with the plot of A Link to the Past, was brought into the team. Koizumi was responsible for the main story of Link's Awakening, providing the idea of the island in a dream, and conceived the interactions with the villagers. Link's Awakening was described by series producer Eiji Aonuma as the first Zelda game with a proper plot, which he attributed to Koizumi's romanticism. Tezuka intended the game's world to have a similar feeling to the American television show Twin Peaks, which, like Link's Awakening, features characters in a small town. All right.
Wow, that's not something I expected to come up, but all right.
He suggested that the characters of Link's Awakening be written as suspicious types, akin to those in Twin Peaks, a theme which carried over into later Zelda titles. Tanabe created these odd characters. He was placed in charge of the sub-events of the story and wrote almost all of the character dialogue with the exception of the owls and the windfish's lines. Tanabe implemented a previous idea of the world ending when a massive egg breaks on top of a world. This idea was originally meant for A Link to the Past. Tanabe really wanted to see this idea in a game and was able to implement it in Link's Awakening as the basic concept. I feel like they just like, they all got high one day and just like, I don't know, Twin Peaks is cool, right? Hey, what if we made it a Zelda game?
Maybe they just got high watching Twin Peaks.
I mean, maybe.
And they're like, what if Zelda?
Also, I like how they got the Switch guy to come in and be like, hey, you like dreams? I'm gonna snap for you. I'm gonna make this snap real popular in like 20 years. What else we got here? Masanao Arimoto and Shigefume Hino designed the game's characters, while Yoichi Kotabe served as illustrator. Save for the opening and ending, all pictures in the game were drawn by Arimoto. Yasuhisa Yamamura designed the dungeons, which included the conception of rooms and routes, as well as the placement of enemies. Shigeru Miyamoto, who served as producer of Link's Awakening, did not provide creative input to the staff members. Bravo. However, he participated as a game tester, and his opinions greatly influenced the latter half of development. Boo!
Game tester. I love that that's what he was. Game tester.
Yeah, he's got this QA tester in here. No big deal.
Yeah, just see if we find any bugs, buddy. Have fun.
The music for Link's Awakening was composed by Minako Hamano, Kozue Ishikawa, for whom it was their first game project, and Kazumi Totaka, who was also responsible for the sound programming and all sound effects. As with most Zelda games, Link's Awakening includes a variation of the recurring overworld music. The staff credits theme, Yume o Miru Shima-e, was later arranged for orchestra by Yuka Sugiyoko and performed at the Orchestral Game Music Concert 3 in 1993. Super Smash Bros. Brawl includes a remix of the game's Tall Tale Heights theme, which has since returned in subsequent Super Smash Bros. Titles. In an interview about the evolution of the Zelda series, Aonuma called Link's Awakening the quintessential isometric Zelda game. At another time, he stated that had the game not come after A Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time would have been very different. Tezuka stated that he prefers the game over A Link to the Past as he enjoyed the challenge of making a similar game on lower-spec hardware. Several elements from Link's Awakening were reused in later Zelda titles. For example, programmer Morita created a fishing and minigame that reappeared in Ocarina of Time, among others. Tanabe implemented a trading system. Tezuka compared it to the Japanese straw millionaire folktale, in which someone trades up from a piece of straw to something of greater value. This concept also appeared in most sequels. So there you go. And then also they did like the Game Boy Color re-release enhancement thingy. It features color graphics. It's backwards compatible with the original Game Boy. Contains a new optional dungeon with unique enemies and puzzles based on color. Due to this, the dungeon cannot be accessed on the earlier non-color Game Boy models. After you beat that dungeon, you get the red or blue tunic, which increases your attack or defense. The DX version also allows players to take photos after the player visits a camera shop. Its owner will appear in certain locations throughout the game. And then you get a bunch of photos. They're like all weird.
Yes.
What else is there? For Link's Awakening DX, Tezuka returned as project supervisor with Yoshinori Tsuchiyama as the new director. Nobuo Matsumiya collaborated with Tsuchiyama on applying changes from the original script. For example, hint messages were added to the boss battles. And for the new dungeon, Yuichi Ozaki created a musical piece based on Kondo's dungeon theme from the original Legend of Zelda. The DX version was re-released on the 3DS, for the Virtual Console and everything. And then the HD remake for the Switch was released in 2019, and then the game was also, like we said, re-released on the Game & Watch in November of 2021.
And we both have that.
We both have that. Also, you could use the Game Boy printer with the DX version.
Whoa.
To print out those pictures.
Fancy.
It's true. Link's Awakening was also the top-selling Game Boy game of August 1993. Helped boost Game Boy sales 13% in 1993. Made that Nintendo one of Nintendo's most profitable years in North America at that point. It had sold 3.83 million units by 2004. The DX version sold another 2.2 million units. The Virtual Console release of it was the top-selling downloadable Nintendo 3DS game of 2011, selling over 338,000 units, or an estimated $2.3 million in gross revenue. So yeah. I kind of like know about the story of this game because, knowing you, obviously, and being on the internet and everything.
Yes.
It's hard not to know the story of this game and just like all the weirdness of it. So nothing in this game kind of like really surprised me. I think it's weird that like they don't really talk about this in here, but like technically this is like a quasi sequel to Link to the Past. Right?
No, it's a straight up sequel to Link to the Past.
Okay. So I didn't know if like it was like that was like a wink and nod type of thing, or if they were like considering this like a hey, this is afterwards. So I guess if you wanna play this straight, we have A Link to the Past, and then here on the timeline it splits into two. It doesn't split into two, but there's two different games that split off of A Link to the Past. I guess it's technically three, but we're gonna go with two here. Actually, we'll go with all three. So you have A Link's Awakening at the top here. On the bottom is A Link Between Worlds. Yeah. And then in the middle, the Satellaview game.
Also the Oracle games come off Link to the Past too.
Yeah, we don't talk about the Oracle games though.
Well, I'm just saying it's all the same Link except for Link Between Worlds. That's a different Link, but otherwise all of that is the exact same Link.
But I like to imagine that the Satellaview game happens while Link is like sleeping and having this weird dream.
I mean, it makes sense because like, oh yeah, he's away, he's on a journey or something like that. So I mean, like,
Makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah, it fits.
Everyone else is like not there, so
This tracks.
So yeah. This, if you've played any of the Game Boy Color games, like such as the Oracle games or this, it plays basically as you would expect.
Don't play the Oracle games.
Don't play the Oracle games, no matter what people tell you. Those games suck.
They're bad.
It's cool. Like obviously from a technical standpoint, it's really neat that they are able to like get a Zelda style, like Link to the Past style game of that big scope and nature on such a tiny handheld such as the Game Boy at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a real interesting technical, showcase.
Yeah. It's very impressive.
I still think these games kind of play real weird. Like the idea of like switching between items all the time, I don't think is all that great. I will say like this is easily the best Game Boy Color Zelda game out of those three, but it's like that's not saying
not saying much.
But it is, I would say, certainly better than the Oracle games for sure.
Yes, I agree with you.
I feel like the most surprising thing is just like, even knowing how the story is and everything, like, all of like the, how it ends going into it and like everything like leading up to it and all that sort of stuff, the story's still kind of up.
Yep.
I was like, what the heck? This is real messed up. Because you have like the enemies all being like, yo, if you wake up the windfish, like everything here's gonna disappear. You're gonna kill off all these people.
Yeah.
And then the owl's is like, hey, gotta keep going. Come on, let's go. Get all the stuff. Come on. And it's like, am I the villain here?
Are we the baddies?
Are we the bad guy here?
I mean,
kind of.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that like the question is, does Link stay completely unconscious forever, or does he wake up and destroy an entire town of people?
Yeah.
Like, and it's kind of a what's the train problem called? Is it just called the train problem?
There might be a word for it, but I don't remember.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do know. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Divert the train tracks or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty messed up.
It is. I will say there was a couple things I liked about this game compared to some of the other games. Like, they have like a lot of like the items are kind of recycled from like A Link to the Past and stuff like that.
Yes.
Where you have like magic powder and you have a magic wand instead of like a fire and ice wand. They just kind of like combine it into one.
Yeah.
But I do like how this game just doesn't have magic meter, so you can just like spam that stuff if you want, and it just doesn't matter. All of the weird Nintendo references are just so bizarre, but kind of charming at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why are there Goombas in this game? Why are there thwomps in this game? It's like, what is happening? It's like, I don't know, but I'll take it. Sure. It's weird.
There's a chain chomp in there too, right?
Yeah, you get to walk that chain chomp around.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
I mean, it is a fever dream, so
yeah, you're not wrong. It's just interesting. It's an interesting game. Like, I think you could say it's way more interesting than the Oracle games in terms of just like what it does with story. How it's like, I mean, obviously they're basically both the same thing, but I think like the Oracle games were made by Capcom and this was made by Nintendo proper.
Mm-hmm.
But they have basically kind of like the same design motif and styles and all that sort of stuff. But,
right.
I had a decent time with this game.
Good.
I think it's I don't think it's like necessarily a top tier Zelda game. I think it's probably in that middle tier, like, around like Ocarina of Time, essentially.
Yeah.
Throw it like around there. I think when we did our big Zelda list, it was basically there on that list, and I think that's probably a good spot to put it. But I thought I had a decent time just playing that game before bed for like a couple of weeks and just like going through it and everything. So, it was a decent little time. Like obviously, like I said, I don't. There's some stuff like I'm just like kind of on, but there's also stuff in there that I'm like, this is all right. This is decent.
It's a decent game. It's definitely not my favorite.
Yeah.
But it's a fun game.
Mhm.
I've played it a few times. It's probably one of my least played Zelda games. Besides like the Oracle games.
Mhm.
But it's not a bad game. And I was thinking like we're talking about dreams and like having huge impacts on the world. It's like, I wonder if Link's Awakening had any impact on Final Fantasy X. But that would be strange, right?
I mean, stranger things have happened.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo getting high and deciding to make a Zelda Twin Peaks.
That's wild. Real wild. Also like I think it's real wild as well that like the final boss of this game is just like 2/3 of it is just a redux of Link to the Past.
Yeah.
Where you fight Aghanon and then Ganon in the forms from A Link to the Past. Which is just like, what? This is wild.
I mean, this teenager probably has a lot of trauma.
It's true.
This is just his PTSD talking.
But it's still just wild that there's like, hey, do you remember these two fights from that other game?
Mm-hmm.
Well, here you go. Have at it again.
You want to do them again?
And you're doing them the exact same way you would do those in those games. It's wild. But yeah, interesting game. Interesting learning about this game, I think, as well from this.
Yeah, I did not know that Twin Peaks was an inspiration for it.
Or that it was just a bootleg game before.
Or that it was a bootleg game.
All right, I guess we're gonna make this now.
I mean, Miss Pac-Man was a bootleg game, so
yeah.
like some pretty iconic games come out of people just shooting the
just around.
Yeah, basically. I was gonna say something, and now I'm blanking on what I was gonna say. I don't remember. I do not remember. That's frustrating.
Don't be frustrated.
I just don't remember what I was gonna say.
No.
What?
No.
I was trying to like think back of like what were we talking about, and it just out the brain. Oh well, it happens. I'll probably remember it once we stop recording. I'll be like, I meant to say this. It was probably very profound. It probably was not very profound.
I mean, maybe it was.
I am trying to be careful to not say the platform of this game, though, because of a certain someone in the house that is sleeping right now.
Oh, yeah. The Game Boy.
Exactly. You're
so
on
I can say it because he can't hear you. He can't hear me.
He can't hear you, but he can hear me, and he'd be like, You want me? What? Hello?
Hello, I'm here.
Hello, I'm Gremlin. Yeah, it's a fine game.
Yeah. I thought, like, considering, like, I know your opinions on it, like, it could have been worse.
It definitely could have been worse.
And especially because of what we went through with the Oracle games. But, coming out of it, I was just like, this is all right.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say.
Got very excited.
Link's Awakening got representation in Hyrule Warriors on the Switch as well. Just
yeah, but what about the 3DS version?
Not that version.
No.
Actually, it probably did, and then like got to be in the Switch because of but I don't remember exactly the timeline of how that worked. But anyway, Marin's in that one. I've barely played as her though.
I mean, what does she do? Just sing at people?
I don't actually know what her moveset is. I think that she like has some weird weapons.
She just throws musical instruments at people.
She's got like a flower at one point, I think.
All
Like,
right.
yeah. Hmm. Da, 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 da. Yeah, she was a DLC character. Do, 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 do. Physical similarities to Princess Zelda from the original game. See Lily's Bell. She's a talented musician, singer, dancer. Yes, yes, yes. Moveset. Yeah, so see Lily Bell, she's plays with bells. Okay. Her
Cool.
weapons are bells. So
Ding ding ding
that's
ding ding.
sure. Hey, there's the Windfish. Hi, Windfish.
Hey, what's up?
But I don't actually know what her moveset is because I have barely played as her.
Yeah. Also, you haven't played that game in a while, probably. So.
That's unfortunate. But yeah, you are correct. You are correct. I have not. She was actually DLC for the 3DS version, but probably barely functional.
I mean, I didn't buy DLC. I don't think for that game, so.
Why would you? It barely ran.
Because it's great. What are you talking about? Also, I did not get the secret ending, so shame on me.
Oh no, I don't even remember what it takes to get the secret ending.
Don't die.
Oh well.
Yeah. I saw a picture of it and I was like, all right, cool.
Yay.
Whatever. That is the thing. So yeah, that's a Link's Awakening.
Yep.
Do you think you'll ever play that Switch version?
I've thought about it.
Maybe if it, I mean, it's a Nintendo game, so you got to pay
It's
the
a Nintendo
Nintendo
game, so
tax.
it'll never go sale. But like, if
Yeah.
it ever goes on like a decent price, maybe.
It's a good looking game.
It is a very good looking game. I love the art style. I think it's super cute. I have the amiibo for it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But also, it's just this game at the end
it's
of the
just
day.
that game at the end of the day. And like I said, I don't hate that game. Like, I don't think it's a bad game, but it's also not one that I'm like, oh man, I gotta play this. Woo,
Or like you're
like,
dying to replay.
right. So, it. If I ever see it go on super sale, then I probably will.
Yeah.
But until then, or if I'm gifted it, I would.
Right.
But I don't know, like, who would think to gift that. Like, I don't think my mom would think to do that.
Especially because it's already been out
But
for like 2 years.
yeah. So she wouldn't think like, oh man, the Zelda game she doesn't have. What? Like, that doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, that's Link's Awakening. He awakens. And he's like, well, that was a weird dream.
And then murders a bunch of people.
Yeah. I'm going to go watch Twin Peaks.
Woo! Have my PTSD and then go do some other adventures with
Woo!
more games and eventually have some kind of reincarnation that does some of my other quests again-ish.
Woo!
Yay!
Where in the Hyrule story does it talk about Twin Peaks, I wonder?
You know what? It probably would have done better than what it is
I agree.
if it had talked about Twin Peaks.
If only.
If only.
So yeah, that's Link's Awakening.
Mm-hmm.
He is awakened, and now he can go nap again without falling into a dream world, hopefully.
Every time I hear the word awaken, I think of the Death Clock song from Metalocalypse.
That's a very you sentence.
I'm just like death metaling in my brain when I hear that word.
Oh man.
Yay.
Anyways,
let's
talk about another game, a new game
a new game.
that just came out only a week ago.
I have not played this one.
You have not played this one. The latest Pokemon game came out.
Pokemon.
That is a very big departure from the rest of the series. Essentially. Pokemon Legends Arceus, or Look, Nintendo PR doesn't even understand how to pronounce the last word. They're like it's Arceus or Arceus. We don't know. But I've heard more people say Arceus, so I'm gonna go with that.
Arceus is how I pronounce it.
Yeah. This is a weird game.
Is it?
It's a weird game. This is a Pokemon Isekai.
Okay.
Where at the very beginning of this game, you are just warped back in time. Essentially, this is a prequel to Diamond and Pearl, so like it's the same region as that, but obviously it's far back in time. I knew I would be interested in this game when I watched the launch trailer for this, and the launch trailer basically opens up with like, you're in a world where Pokemon are
What?
Yeah, so like obviously this is like the like a long time ago in the past, so like people in Pokemon are not like buddy yet.
Right.
Like there are people in this like village that you like live in that are terrified of Pokemon. And it doesn't help that like the Pokemon in this game are out to murder you.
Cool.
They want to kick your So like
I also want to kick my ass. So I get it.
Yeah, exactly. Like unlike, the normal Pokemon formula, like this is kind of open world-ish. Like you get to run around giant like pieces of this world. Not really giants, like you get like just set pieces essentially. Mm-hmm. But you can go kind of wherever you want within the boundaries of the area essentially. And there are some Pokemon you'll run around and they'll be like, whatever, who cares? Like, hey, what's up? How's it going? And there's some Pokemon you'll run into and they'll be like, all right, we're going to throw down. And they will attack you. Not your Pokemon, you.
That's mean.
And if you take enough hits, you will black out and you have to get rescued.
Oh my god.
And you leave some stuff behind that someone else has to go pick up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Pokemon don't around in this game. They want to beat your ass. And it's cool as so yeah, like considering this is like they basically switch up the whole formula with this game and everything, like a lot of this game isn't centered around the idea of you going around and being the Pokemon champion. Like there's no gyms in this game. Like that concept just does not exist. You are literally going around and trying to create the first ever Pokedex. So like you are going around having to like research these Pokemon, and like by filling out the Pokedex, you basically like increase a Pokemon specific like research level, and like you do that by like fighting them, by catching them, by doing specific moves or seeing specific moves done on you, and then you fill that out and you get like research points that makes you like you get those points go into like a ranking level, and that ranking will like let you get more crafting recipes, let you do more items. That's how you are able to like use higher level Pokemon or have them like listen to your commands and all that sort of stuff. Similar to how the previous games were like, you go to the gyms and getting those badges will be like, oh, now you can have level 50 Pokemon listen to you and all that sort of stuff. This is more tied to like, you do enough research on the Pokedex, more Pokemon will start listening to you and all that sort of stuff. Like I mentioned earlier, there's crafting in this game. You have to craft your own like potions and Pokeballs and all that sort of stuff. There's like the berries that usually would give Pokemon in the other games to like, have them hold it to heal themselves in battle and stuff like that. You can throw that out for a wild Pokemon and like have it eat it and try and use that to sneak up on it and stuff like that. Obviously this is going to be a very prominent and common game this game is what's the word I'm looking for compared to. Mm-hmm. But there is a lot of Breath of the Wild in this video game, where it is a lot of you going around to like these specific areas, because like, you'll open up various areas as you progress the story and everything, and everything is kind of just open up to you at once if you want to. Like obviously there's traversal things where you can't get to certain places at the very beginning, because like you'll need specific Pokemon that you can like ride or do whatever to like get you up like mountains or help you fly or get you along the water and everything. But for the most part, you can kind of just go around to wherever you want at the very beginning as you going into specific areas and everything. So like it very much kind of like pushes you in this idea of like go out and explore, see all the new Pokemon you can go find, go catch those new Pokemon and everything. You know, see what you can go find over in this little area or this little area and everything. So it does really evoke those like feelings that Breath of the Wild gives you of being like, I don't know, just go explore, go find stuff, go see what's over there. And I really enjoyed that because like it really kind of brought me back to that game, and it's something that you don't really have. It's not really an experience you get from like the other mainline Pokemon games because they are
right.
linear in a way of like you're going from area to area and it's all story progression based and all that sort of stuff, which this does have as well. Like you can't go to like the final area at the very beginning of the game because like it's just not unlocked or anything. But like I said, like once you eventually like get to a new area, like it's all you're able to go pretty much wherever you want if you want to. If you want to like get to that area and just ignore the story for 2 hours and go catch Pokemon, you're free to do that. And it's a really cool idea, and it's wild to see a Pokemon game kind of doing this sort of stuff.
I'm just thinking of you see that mountain you can go to it thing.
I mean, yeah, kind of. It's not wrong.
But with Pokemons.
Yeah, you'll run into a Pokemon and be like, oh god, this thing's gonna kill me.
Murder me.
There's a new concept in this game called Alpha Pokemon, which is just like a regular Pokemon but big.
Oh god.
But also it's like way higher level than probably the other normal Pokemon are. And they are very aggro focused. So like they will come after you if you are getting in their way. And they want to mess you up. Like in the first area, there's like a level 40 Rapidash. That's an alpha version of it. And it's just big. And this is like when you're like level 5. So like if you go exploring too far and then like you run into that thing and it's like, uh-oh. I ran into that thing and started battling it. It was like level 40. I was like, uh-oh. Immediately just started running away.
So that's very Xenoblade-ish.
Yeah, yes, that is another thing that people were like, because I think this game kind of got out early ahead of its release, and there were people who had gotten it early being like, this game is kind of like Xenoblade in that way, where like, all your enemies are out on the field, and there are big versions of enemies that like you cannot go fight right away if you want to like, not die immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought like that was like an interesting like comparison to make as well, and it is a good comparison to make. Obviously, there's no like level 100 dinosaurs that are going to fuel your anger throughout the entirety of the story that you want to go back and destroy, but
so you exact your revenge by getting high enough level to destroy it multiple times.
Yeah, exactly.
As you do.
So yeah, like the Xenoblade comparison is also pretty apt.
Interesting.
Catching in this game is also different. Like you don't have to go into battle to catch Pokemon as you normally would. There's like basically you can like sneak up on Pokemon and like throw balls at their back, and that gives you like an advantage to try and catch it or anything, or just like run at it and just like huck balls at it as much as you want. But like the way to do it is basically like there's like these little like patches of grass that you can like hide in, like crouch down and hide in, and like stealth your way to like trying to catch Pokemon. So like that's an interesting way to do it. You can also like go into battle and do it that way as well. Like it's not like they just completely remove that out of there.
Right.
That is also an option, but like it is easier to do it this way just because like you avoid battle, you get experience for catching them and everything. And it's interesting to do. Like the fact that you have to like craft Pokeballs means like you're going to carry like a bunch of balls around and just like you're going to be hooking those things at various Pokemon. You're going to be catching a lot of like the same Pokemon at once because you need to get that resource level up on it, to get your ranks up and all that sort of stuff. It's real interesting. It's real interesting. The story is kind of like all right. There's probably stuff I'm missing because like I didn't play Diamond and Pearl.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's probably parts of it that I'm like, It is like you could like there was a review that went up today that people got mad about because like it mentioned that like you can definitely look at this game with like a colonialism lens, and like that is kind of true because like they basically talk about like the people who are like running this village are like, yeah, we just came to this village and we just decided to start a village here, and now we're branching out, and kind of doing our own thing. There's these other clans that have been living here, but like, we're building up this own village now and like going out and researching the Pokemon and doing our own thing and all that sort of stuff. Nothing weird here. So you can definitely
I could see that.
You could look at it through that lens for sure.
People were mad about that, you said? I'm sure they were.
The capital G gamers are out and about.
Of course they were. Why wouldn't they be?
I'll give it some brief spoilers here. So tune out for like maybe a couple of minutes. I've basically done everything in this game except for like the last thing you have to do is complete the Pokedex, and that grants you the ability to capture Arceus. And I think that's basically the end of the game. They don't really give you an explanation for like the isekai stuff. Like,
nice.
There is a character you fight at the very end that's kind of like your super boss equivalent, who's basically just like, yeah, I use this Pokemon to open the time rift to make these other Pokemon mad so I could bring forth Arceus because I feel like I am the one person who needs to be able to see Arceus, and I want to recreate this world into something else. By the way, I don't know how you got here. That's real weird. Anyways. So like none of that's rectified. It's just like, I don't know, I guess you're stuck here now. And then like there's also another character that you run into in this game that also was basically in the same situation that you are, where they're like, yeah, I came here from another world, and like so like from the future where Pokemon and people lived side by side, they battled each other. You, like being a Pokemon trainer was a thing to be and all that sort of stuff. I don't know how I got here though, but that's the thing. So I thought that was a little weird that they don't ever like resolve that.
That is very bizarre.
So that's strange, but yeah. It's a little weird. But like I mean the story itself it's fine. It's a Pokemon story. I think some of like the side characters they make for you are pretty decent. Have some fun interactions with you and the other characters and everything. But like I don't think it's really the main reason you would be here for that. You're mostly here for like this new take on the Pokemon formula, and I think it does a pretty good job of reinventing the formula.
Nice. That's exciting.
It's very exciting. Like I know a lot of people get mad about Pokemon games because that's the thing they have to do. Right. And I mean, to be fair, like the formula of Pokemon games has relatively been unchanged for a good long while now.
Right.
It's been pretty much the same thing since, the Game Boy games. So to have something come along like this that is similar-ish to those games, but does its whole other thing as well, is a welcome breath of fresh air for this series. And I would very much be interested in like seeing what they do with like this formula in like a second game, or like whether or not they try and like use this for the next like actual mainline game.
I mean, like people kind of panicked with Breath of the Wild because like this isn't anything like Zelda game, blah 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 blah. But like it's a good video game.
Yeah.
So like it's not necessarily a bad thing when you try and do something different that you haven't been doing for 20 years.
No, of course not.
So like, experimentation can be fun and fine.
Yeah. It's a good thing.
Yes.
Do something new with your franchise. It's cool.
I'm glad that it worked out here.
Yeah, it's been like, considering like the whole of this game essentially is just like at the end of the day, you boil this concept down to like a singular focus, is that this is just a collectathon. But they make it a fun collectathon.
I like
collectathons. They make it intriguing to want you to go out and like go capture these Pokemon, complete this Pokedex, seek out all the stuff you haven't found yet. Like I've found I've seen I think like 170 of the 268 Pokemon, and I'm still like, yeah, I want to go out and see if I can find the rest of these. Like I'm still having a good time with this game, even though like I've technically beat the story. And now it's just me kind of just doing my own thing and like trying to fill out these side quests that I need to do, or just filling out the rest of the Pokedex. Like I'm just having a good time with that.
That's great though.
Yeah. Not something I like, because usually when I play these games, I go through the story, I do a little bit of the post game stuff, and then pretty much I'm just done after that.
Right.
But with this, I'm just like still like, yeah, I want to keep going with this. I want to, see all the stuff. See, go
Keep
catch
hanging
these.
out with the Pokemans.
Keep hanging out with these giant Pokemans. Do the fun stuff. I guess I should also say like, there's been some criticisms about like the performance and graphics of this game. I haven't really seen much like performance issues. Like maybe like a few slight hitches here and there in docked. Supposedly it runs better in handheld, and supposedly like looks a little bit better in handheld. It looks fine. It looks like what you'd expect a Pokemon game to look like, considering that's how their art style is and everything. Like, it's not gonna look like a first party Nintendo game because no other games on the Switch look like first party Nintendo games.
Right.
Let's be real.
Right.
So there's that. Also, there's no multiplayer in this game outside of trading. So there's no multiplayer battles or anything like that, which for me, I do not care about. Because like that's not something I'm going to do anyways. But like obviously for people who want to like, battle their friends or do all that sort of stuff, like that's going to be an issue. But also like the way this game is, like there's such a like kind of lack of focus on trainer battles because like you do them so rarely in the story of this game. So like it kind of makes sense that like they would go in the way that like, yeah, we don't really care about doing trainer battles for online or stuff like that. Because like you're not doing a lot of those like trainer battles throughout the story. Like you do them here and there, but like that's kind of it. I guess another thing I should mention as well, like there are actual boss fights in this game.
No.
Where you have to like go like quell these frenzied Pokemon, but to do so you have to like run around this little stage area that they'll set up for you, and it's basically you like dodging all of their attacks, and they will do some messed up attacks to you, and like you have to like throw stuff at them to like kind of calm them down, and like sometimes you'll throw your Pokemon in there to fight them to continue to try and calm them down. But essentially this is you against this giant Pokemon who's just like flinging giant attacks at you, and you're just like hopelessly dodging out of the way like
That's terrifying.
It's wild.
That's terrifying.
It's something like just the way that they're able to make Pokemon, like this idea of Pokemon into like, subverting the idea of Pokemon we've had for 20 plus years now.
Right.
It's just, Pokemon, they're the cuddly creatures. It's like, no. These guys
They want to murder you.
They hate you.
Amazing.
Like humans, they suck.
They're garbage. I mean, are they wrong? No, they're not wrong.
It's also because like this is the deep past, so like they probably just they're like, oh man, these people are stinky. Get away. There's attacking you to get away from them. So
maybe literally stinky.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. They're literally stinky.
Stinky. Well, not you, Maxwell. You're not stinky.
He's like, what did I do?
I'm not stinky. I just took a bath.
I'm not a stinky boy.
It's okay, buddy. I'm sorry.
But yeah, this game seems pretty cool.
I mean, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yay.
Like we said, like it's one of those things where you go into it and you're like a little apprehensive because you're just like, is this going to work?
Right.
Like you're betting the farm on, making this whole new concept for a series that doesn't really do a whole lot of branching out, especially in like the mainline series. And lo and behold, they did something pretty neat.
That's super cool.
Yeah. So there you go. The Pokemans.
The Pokemans.
The
Maxwell, are you a
Pokemons are
Pokemon?
back in the news.
And they want to murder you.
And they want to kill you.
Hilarious.
Gang strikes again.
Not that murder is funny, but
beats up 15-year-old kid, leaves him knocked out, stranded in the woods. More at 11.
Oh my god. Hilarious.
So there you go. There's Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all.
Oh my god.
I think that's gonna do it for this episode.
It's gonna do it for the episode?
Yeah. Unless you want to like talk about something else.
I got nothing.
Maxwell being Maxwell.
Maxwell, are you being a Maxwell?
Game Boy sleeping.
Yeah, I don't know where he is.
That's scary.
I know.
He's gonna stand on the toilet again and be like, huh?
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 He looks so confused.
He's flirting with disaster.
He really is.
Little gremlin man.
He's gonna fall in one day.
Oh, he's gonna be so mad.
So mad.
And then he's gonna try it again because he's gonna be like, I can do this.
I can balance this time.
And then fall in again and be like, ah!
No, I've been thwarted. Why would you do this to me?
No. Huh. What a little gremlin.
Yep.
Anyways, that's going to do it for this week's episode. So if you'd like more from us, head on over to seasonalanimecheckup.com or sac.cool where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Jared Now Watch. You can also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Anladium, go to anladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter and TikTok at Anime Checkup. You can buy our books, One Shiny Moment, a critical analysis of Love, Life, Sunshine, and Hot Tubs and Pac-Man on Amazon.com. And you can join us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. Buy us a slice of pizza, get access to unedited versions of the podcast early, and a wealth of bonus content as well. Next week, I hear love is in the air.
Love is in the air.
So Al's going to talk about Otome.
Yep. Dairoku is the name of the Atome.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So we will learn all about whatever these boys are up to in Al's new Otome and see where it lands on the Otome list.
Yes. They are mythical beings. We have a bunch of, mythical guys and also your boss that you get to date.
Very normal stuff.
Very normal.